All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're just going to go through the stat leaders after week 6 in the NFL. So we'll start off with the passing yards. So Tua Tagovailoa still leads the way with 1,876 passing yards. Kirk Cousins is second with 1,679. Matthew Stafford has 1,677, and I think, it's only going to get better with Cooper Kupp now being back. C.J. Stroud is fourth with 1,660, and Jared Goff has 1,618. All quarterbacks that are, Kirk Cousins, listen, he doesn't really have a running game right now, so obviously he's going to throw it more, and, obviously Justin Jefferson being out definitely hurts. He didn't really have his best game the other day against the Bears. Tua, listen, with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and obviously, throwing to Mostert out of the backfield, and hopefully when Achane comes back, he'll get involved again. Tua, I think, is probably going to finish as the passing yards leader in the NFL. He should get to 5,000 yards pretty easily. And the other thing, too, is you got the extra game, too. So, and then, of course, Jared Goff is at 5. He's having a great year. I think he should get to close to 5,000 yards. Should get to 5,000 yards. But we'll see. We'll see. Because obviously now with the extra game, stats are going to go, it's going to be very easy to break a lot of passing records. And, Tua's already, close to 2,000. I think he'll get to 5,000. Goff should get close. Stafford, we'll see. We'll see. But now we go to passer rating. So, Tua leads the way in passer rating. He's got a 114.1 passer rating. Brock Purdy's in second. He's got a 111.9. That's another thing, too. Passer, listen, he's number 2 in passer rating. Again, but some people are going to discount that and just be like, yeah, system quarterback. But, was Jimmy Garoppolo second in passer rating with the 49ers? You have to go back and look. But still, again, that's one thing you got to look at. Jared Goff is third. Josh Allen is fourth. Justin Herbert is fifth. No surprise there, with some of these guys. The one thing I would say is, top 5, there's no Patrick Mahomes. There is no Patrick Mahomes right now. At least in those two categories. Christian McCaffrey obviously leads the way in rushing. Then you got Zach Moss, A-Chain, Karen Williams, and DeAndre Swift. 2 of those guys are hurt now. Karen Williams is actually going to miss the game against the Steelers on Sunday. A-Chan. It's A-Chan. Kept saying A-Chain. A-Chan. He's obviously on IR, but he'll be back at some point. Zach Moss is second in rushing. He's been good for the Colts. Hopefully, if they continue to get Jonathan Taylor more involved, you got a nice 1-2 combination there with those two. And then obviously DeAndre Swift, he's been very good for the Eagles. He's fifth. And we'll see what happens with McCaffrey. Obviously, there's been positive news with, him and the other players on the 49ers that were injured. So we'll see. We'll see. Receiving, obviously Tyreek Hill, he's got 800 yards, 814 he has on the season. And then the next closest receiver is A.J. Brown with 672. Diggs has 620. Puka Nacua, he's got 598. And DJ Moore has 582. Tyreek's going to get 2,000 yards. And for me, listen, I had the 4th pick in my main league for fantasy. And I was really struggling on who I was going to pick. I really just had, I didn't know what I was going to do because I thought maybe I go with Jamar Chase if he falls to me, or Eckler. But I just was like, I don't know. Eckler I wasn't really sure about. Well, he ended up not falling to me anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I just really didn't know what I was going to do. Because last year I had like pick number 7 or 8, and I picked Najee Harris, and that was terrible. So I said, you know what? If he falls to me, I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. And thankfully I did, because he has been awesome this year for fantasy as well. And yeah, he's going to get, if he stays healthy, because listen, he's had a couple of injuries during games, he's going to get 2,000 yards. Like, he's going to. Like, I mean, we'll see what he does against the Eagles on Sunday. I mean, if he gets like close to 200 yards and you're at 1,000 at pretty much the midway point, probably odds are he's probably going to get 2,000 yards, but we'll see. So we go to the sacks leaders. Danielle Hunter's tied with TJ Watt at 8. Danielle Hunter could possibly be somebody that maybe the Vikings trade, a team that's looking for a pass rusher. You got the other Josh Allen's got 7, and apparently he doesn't like when people say that, which honestly I don't really blame him. Like, you're being called the other Josh Allen because everybody knows the Josh Allen on the Bills. But yeah, I mean, he's a good player. 7 sacks for him. Trey Hendrickson has 7, and Khalil Mack has 7. Obviously, he had that 6-sack game, so that's kind of helped him. Jesse Bates, Jacobs for the Lions, Nelson for the Texans. Several players are tied for 3 interceptions in the NFL. Stone for the Ravens, Williams for the Jags. Zaire Franklin still leads the way in tackles. TJ Edwards has 68 for the Bears. So those are like the, for players. Now you look at like the teams. Dolphins still lead the way in rushing. That's like one thing that that I didn't actually, didn't mention when I was talking about the best teams in the AFC. And that's one thing that I would say the Dolphins. Now, the Chiefs, Pacheco's been good, but the Dolphins are rushing for almost 200 yards per game. The Bills don't really have a good ground game. I mean, James Cook's been good, but like they don't use it enough. But the Dolphins have been good running the football. And then you look at like scoring. I mean, the Dolphins are one of the top team. They're averaging 37.2, points per game. You got the Niners in second, Bills in third. That's why I hate like disrespecting the Dolphins. And obviously, like, their total offense per game, they're averaging almost 500 yards per game, and the Chiefs have 382.3 behind the Eagles and the Lions, and then the Bills have, 374.8. But, it's because of that game against the Bills. I mean, the Bills just dominated them. And that's why I look at, the Chiefs and the Bills as being the better teams. Well, I mean, the Chiefs is kind of different just because, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. I mean, I'd take them over the Dolphins right now. The Dolphins do look better than the Chiefs offensively, but, I mean, when these two teams play each other in Germany, I'm probably going to, favor the Chiefs. But, we'll see. It'll be very telling. I don't know. Not that it's a bad thing. I think it's great that we're actually going to have a game, overseas that is going to be worth the watch, because a lot of times we don't really get that. I mean, Germany is getting a great game between, two teams that are fighting for home field advantage right now. Because, the Dolphins did lose to the Bills, but they still got a better record than them. Like these two teams are going to go at it, with the 2 best records in the AFC. And it could be for home field advantage. So, I mean, it's, it's definitely something to look forward to. But I don't know. I kind of wish I would have loved to have seen them, playing in Arrowhead or Miami, But maybe in the playoffs. In the playoffs we will, most likely, depending on how the playoffs shape out. But, yeah, so then you go on, like, the defensive side of things. So the Ravens and the Bills are actually tied for the league lead in sacks. The Ravens have 24. The Bills have 24. The Chargers have 21. Dolphins have 21. And the Eagles have 20. Niners lead the way in interceptions. They got 10. So no surprise there. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it when you look at the stats, the stat leaders after this week. Um, not really a surprise with some of those things. Um, but yeah, also I actually wanted to throw in some other news that I didn't touch upon. But the Eagles, they actually signed Julio Jones to a contract for the remainder of the season. Obviously, Julio Jones is not the same player that he was. Obviously when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, he was arguably the best receiver in the game. But since then, injuries and just getting older, and he did play last year, believe it or not, with the Buccaneers. Didn't really do that much with them because, again, he was also hurt. But I mean, for a guy that could be like your number 3 wide receiver, I think I think this is not a bad signing for the Eagles. I don't really think he's going to do that much with them, but I mean, if he turns back the clock and is anywhere close to what he was, with the Falcons, I mean, that's a plus for them. And I actually forgot that that he played for the. Well, no, I knew he played for the Titans, but I just forgot about him and AJ Brown being teammates, even though Julio Jones was on the Titans. And now obviously AJ Brown is with the Eagles now. I know, because remember, I mean, people thought that offense was going to be special with Julio Jones, with AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry. That offense, you would have thought oh my God, this team is going to be insane. This offense is going to be insane. But that really wasn't the case. Now, I think if they had Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, one of those guys throwing to them instead of Ryan Tannehill, that's probably different. But now they got Jalen Hurts throwing them the ball. I didn't even mention Jalen Hurts. I just said Josh Allen, Mahomes. But yeah, I mean, now you got Jalen Hurts throwing them the ball. So, let's see. Can Julio? I mean, listen, I think Julio could do okay. I don't think he's gonna, but he's not going to have to do much because you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Goddard, you run the football well with your running backs, with Swift, Gainwell, all those guys. So Julio Jones really doesn't have to be, the Julio Jones of old. He just has to be a number 3 wide receiver. And I think Julio Jones is a number 3 wide receiver at this point in his career. That's good. I think you'd want to have Julio Jones as your number 3 wide receiver. And it's another weapon for Hurts to throw to. So, we'll see what happens. But I know that was a topic of discussion yesterday, and we'll see what he could do. I mean, we'll see if he suits up on Sunday, because that's a game that we're definitely gonna do a segment for, and that's the Eagles and the Dolphins. You got 2 high-powered offenses going at it. And that's a big game for both teams. Both teams are coming in with 1 loss. Eagles obviously coming off of their first loss this past week. And, the Dolphins, they lost to the Bills a couple weeks ago, and this is a big game for them. They're going into Philly, and I think it should be a very good game. So we'll see. But we'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the show today. Obviously, after this, I will go and record the Patreon portion of the show, and then that'll be it. I'm working on getting. I'll have last night's show reposted, the 4 parts. I'll do that once I'm done with the Patreon, and then you'll have the shorts that'll come out. Obviously, doing the football shorts and the baseball shorts as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I thank you guys for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll preview the Thursday night game, Jags and the Saints. We'll preview that, and we'll have some other stuff planned to talk about as well. So until then, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.